The last thing Commander Ziak expected to see when the storm broke through Earth's atmosphere was a massive banner that read, "Welcome to the end of your invasion." For decades, the Thean Empire had been the dominant force in the galaxy, subjugating weaker species and integrating their resources into the Empire's ever-growing hunger for expansion. The Galactic Council had long warned humanity that their days of independence were numbered, yet humanity had remained defiant, rejecting integration with an audacity that bordered on madness. Commander Zeke had been tasked with leading the invasion force, a fleet of ships so vast it blotted out the stars as it approached Earth. The Theons expected a swift and brutal victory, much like every other conquest, but from the moment they breached the atmosphere, something felt off. Zak's thoughts were interrupted by the sudden appearance of an enormous, sleek vessel rising from Earth's surface, dwarfing the Thean warships in size and sophistication. Its hull shimmered with a technology unfamiliar even to the seasoned commander. "Sir, we're detecting an energy buildup in that ship," reported Lieutenant Sol, his eyes glued to the readings. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Zak could respond. A voice boomed through their communication systems, clear and taunting. "This is Admiral Hayes of the Terran Defense Force. You've chosen the wrong planet to invade." Hayes's voice had a chilling calmness to it, a stark contrast to the usual pleas or threats the Theons were accustomed to hearing. Ziak felt an unfamiliar sensation creeping through his veins. "Doubt Admiral Hayes," Ziak replied, attempting to regain control of the situation. "Surrender now, and we will show mercy to your people. Resist and face annihilation." Hayes' laughter echoed through the bridge. "You misunderstand, Commander. We are not here to negotiate. We've been preparing for this day. Welcome to Earth, the place where your conquest ends." With that, the Terran vessel unleashed a beam of energy that sliced through the lead Theon battleship, splitting it in two. The bridge exploded into chaos as alarms blared and emergency protocols activated. "Return fire," Zak shouted. But even as he gave the order, he knew it was futile. The human ship moved with a grace and precision that defied everything they knew about space warfare. The Theon fleet retaliated, their powerful plasma cannons lighting up the darkness of space. Yet the Terran ship danced through the barrage, its shields absorbing the impact with ease. More human ships began to rise from the planet's surface, each one more advanced than the last. "Commander, we need to regroup," Zol shouted, his voice barely audible over the den. Zak clenched his mandibles. Retreat had never been an option in their conquest, but this was different. This was a fight. They were not prepared for. "All ships fall back to the rendezvous point. We need to reassess our strategy." As the Thran fleet began its hasty retreat, the humans did not pursue. Instead, they hovered in formation, a silent testament to their newfound power. Back on the Thean flagship, Zeke paced the command deck, his mind racing. "How did we underestimate them so drastically?" he muttered to himself. "Sir, it appears they've been advancing their technology in secret." Gull replied, still analyzing the data. "Our intelligence reports were outdated. This level of technological development, it's unprecedented." Zak's eyes narrowed. "Prepare a message to the Emperor. We need reinforcements. This isn't just a battle anymore. It's a war for survival." But even as he gave the order, a nagging doubt lingered in his mind. What if reinforcements wouldn't be enough? What if humanity had truly become the dominant force in the galaxy? A force that even the mighty Thean Empire could not overcome. On the surface of the Earth, Admiral Hayes watched the retreating Theon fleet with a satisfied smile. "They'll be back," he said to Captain Rohr, his second-in-command. "And when they do, we'll be ready." Rohr nodded. "They won't know what hit them. The new energy weapons work better than we anticipated that they did," Hayes replied. "But we can't get complacent. This was just the first wave. They'll return with more ships, more firepower. We need to be ready to show them that Earth is not just a planet to be conquered, it's a fortress." As Hayes turned to leave the command center, he paused, looking at the image of the Theon fleet on the screen. "They thought they could take us by surprise. They thought we were weak. Today they learned just how wrong they were." The room fell silent as Hayes walked out, the weight of the coming war heavy on his shoulders. The Theons had started this conflict, but it would be humanity that finished it. Earth was prepared to fight, and they would not stop until the Theon Empire learned the true cost of underestimating humanity. The day the humans answered would be remembered as the turning point in a war that would reshape the galaxy, and for the first time in history, it was humanity who held the upper hand. The Threx and reinforcements arrived within a week, a vast armada that filled the sensors of every human ship with a relentless stream of data. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the TF Resolute, the flagship of the Terran Defense Force, as his crew analyzed the incoming fleet. "Commander Zach's message must have been convincing, Captain Roar," remarked, watching the screens. "That's a lot of ships." Hayes nodded, his expression serious. "They won't underestimate us again this time. They'll throw everything they have at us." As the Threxan ships moved into formation, Hayes turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to all ships: we hold the line here. No one retreats. This is our home, and we will defend it." The response was immediate, a chorus of acknowledgments from the Terran fleet. Each captain, each crew member knew the state. This was not just about Earth. It was about humanity's place in the galaxy. Commander Zeke stood on the bridge of the Theon flagship, the Emperor. Studying the Terran formations, the humans had positioned themselves strategically, taking advantage of the planetary defenses and their advanced technology. They've set up a strong perimeter. Exol observed. "Breaking through will be costly." Zith mandibles clicked in frustration. "Costly or not, we have no choice. The Emperor demands victory. Prepare the fleet for a full-scale assault." As the Theon ships advanced, the space between them and the human fleet erupted. With the fury of battle, plasma bolts and energy beams crisscrossed the void, lighting up the darkness. With deadly precision, the humans fought with a tenacity that surprised even Zach on the Resolute. Hay watched the Theon assault unfold. "Deploy the drones," he ordered. "Let's see how they handle our newest toys." From the hangars of the Terran ships, swarms of combat drones poured out, each one equipped with cutting-edge weaponry and autonomous AI. They darted through this battlefield, targeting Theon ships with ruthless efficiency. "Drone strikes are effective, sir," reported Lieutenant Kaminsky, monitoring the battle from his station. "We're inflicting significant damage on their smaller vessels." Hayes nodded. "Good, keep the pressure on. We need to break their momentum on the Imperator." Ziak was beginning to realize the true extent of humanity's advancements. "Their drones are wreaking havoc on our lines." Inkul reported. "We need to adapt quickly." Zach issued rapid orders to his fleet, directing them to focus their fire on the swarms of drones. As the Thrawn ships adjusted their tactics, the drones began to take losses, but the cost in Theon ships was high. "The humans have anticipated our every move," Zach said, frustration creeping into his voice. "How have they come this far so fast? We underestimated them," Z replied. "And now we're paying the price." Zach knew his lieutenant was right. This was no longer just a battle. It was a test of wills, a contest to see who could outlast the other, and the humans were proving to be formidable opponents. Back on Earth, the battle was being watched by billions. Every screen, every broadcast showed the unfolding conflict in bunkers and command centers across the globe. Military leaders coordinated their defenses, ready to support the fleet above. And one such bunker, General Marcus Steele, reviewed the latest reports. "The Thions are throwing everything they have at us," he said, looking at the assembled officers. "But our fleet is holding. Hayes and his men are doing their job, but for how long?" one officer asked. "Their numbers are overwhelming." Steele's gaze was steely. "As long as it takes. We've come too far to lose now." As the battle raged on, the tide began to turn. The human ships, though outnumbered, were holding their ground with a ferocity that stunned the Thix. The Terran fleet's superior tactics and technology were making a difference. "Sir, we breached their second line of defense," Kaminsky reported, his voice filled with excitement. "We're pushing them back." Hayes allowed himself a brief smile. "Good. Keep the pressure on. We need to break their spirit on the Imperator." Zach watched in disbelief as his ships began to fall back. "This cannot be," he muttered. "How are they doing this?" Sol for once had no answer. The Theons had always been the superior force, the conquerors, yet here they were, being bested by a species they had once deemed insignificant. The battle dragged on hours, turning into a relentless grind of attrition. Both sides suffered heavy losses, but the human resolve remained unbroken. Hayes knew that victory was within their grasp, but it would come at a cost. "Admiral, we have reports of critical damage on several ships." Roos said, his voice tense. "We can't keep this up forever." Hayes nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "Order the damaged ships to fall back to secondary positions. We'll cover them. We can't afford to lose any more." The Terran fleet adjusted, allowing their most damaged vessel to retreat. The remaining ships held the line. The Theons, sensing weakness, pressed their attack, but the humans were ready. "Admiral, the Thrain are concentrating their fire on the Resolute," Kaminsky warned. "They're trying to take us out." Hayes' eyes narrowed. "Let them come. Prepare for close quarters combat." As the Theon Ships closed in, the Resolute unleashed a barrage of firepower, its advanced weapon systems cutting through the enemy ranks. The ship shook with the impact of enemy fire, but Hayes remained calm, directing the battle with a steady hand. "We're not going down without a fight," he said quietly. His determination unwavering. On the Imperator Zith knew that the battle was slipping away. The humans were proving to be an indomitable force, their spirit unbroken, even in the face of overwhelming odds. "Commander, we need to withdraw," Zul urged. "We can't sustain these losses." Zith's mandibles clenched in frustration. To retreat was to admit defeat, something the Thean Empire had never done, but as he looked at the data, he knew Asa was right. "Order the retreat," he said reluctantly. "We'll regroup and come back stronger." As the Threxan fleet began to pull back, the humans did not pursue. They held their ground, watching as the invaders fled on the Resolute. Hayes allowed himself a moment of relief. "We did it," Roar said, head voice filled with awe. "We actually did it," Hayes nodded. "This battle is ours, but the war is far from over. They'll be back, and when they come, we need to be ready." As the remnants of the Theon fleet disappeared into the void, the human ships began to regroup, tending to their wounded and assessing the damage. The battle had been hard fought, but humanity had proven its strength on Earth. Celebrations erupted as the news spread. The invincible Thean Empire had been dealt a significant blow. Humanity had answered the call and emerged victorious, but in the back of every mind was the understanding that this was only the beginning. The real war was yet to come, and humanity would need every ounce of its strength and ingenuity to prevail. Admiral Hayes looked out at the stars, his mind already planning for the next encounter. That this time humanity would be even more prepared. This was their world, their home, and they would defend it to the last. The day the humans answered had set the stage for a conflict that would define the future of the galaxy, and humanity, against all odds, was ready to fight. The months that followed the initial battle saw humanity preparing for the inevitable return of the Thran. The Terran Defense Force expanded its fleet, integrating lessons learned from the first engagement. Science and engineers worked around the clock, developing even more advanced technologies and weapons. Earth had united as never before, the threat of annihilation forging a bond stronger than any in history. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned TDF Resolute 2, its sleek, angular design a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. Beside him, Captain Roar monitored the latest intelligence reports. "Scouts have detected significant Threx activity near the edge of the system," Roar said. "It looks like they're assembling for another push." Hayes nodded. "They're desperate. We dealt them a heavy blow, but they won't stop until they've either conquered us or been utterly defeated." This time, humanity was ready. The fleet had been reinforced with new ships, each one equipped with the latest in human and reverse-engineered Thean technology. The Terran Defense Network, a series of orbital defense platforms and ground-based missile silos, was fully operational, ready to unleash a torrent of firepower on any invader. As the Theon fleet approached, it became clear that they were throwing everything they had into this final assault. Thousands of ships, ranging from nimble fighters to massive dreadnoughts, filled the void of space. The sheer scale of the force was staggering all ships. "This is Admiral Hayes," he announced over the fleet-wide comm channel. "The Theans are back, and this time they're going all in. Remember what we're fighting for. This is our home, our future. We stand, we fight, and we will win." The Thean ship surged forward, and the battle commenced with a ferocity that dwarfed the first engagement. The Resolute II's weaponry blazed, tearing through the enemy ranks. With deadly precision, swarms of combat drones darted through the chaos, targeting key Theon vessels. "So the orbital platforms are engaging," Roar reported. "We're holding them off, but they brought more ships than we anticipated." Hayes watched the tactical display, the grim dance of red and blue symbols representing ships in their movements. "Maintain formation. We need to keep them from breaking through to the planet." As the battle intensified, it became clear that both sides were taking heavy losses. Theans, driven by a mix of desperation and fury, fought with a determination that matched humanity's own, yet for every human ship that fell to Theon, vessels were destroyed. "Admiral, we've got incoming boarding parties," Kaminsky shouted. "They're targeting our command ships." Hayes' eyes narrowed. "Repel all boarders. They want to take this ship. They'll have to do it over my dead body." On the lower decks of the Resolute, two Threx and soldiers poured through breaches, engaging in brutal close-quarters combat with human marines. The fighting was fierce, but the marines held their ground, pushing the invaders back with sheer determination and tactical prowess. In space, the battle raged on the human fleet. Despite being outnumbered, continued to inflict devastating losses on the Theans. The orbital defense platforms fired relentless salvos, their advanced targeting systems picking off the ships with deadly accuracy. Admiral were receiving a transmission from the Thrain flagship. Roar said his tone incredulous. Its commander Zack, patch him through haze, ordered. Zack's image appeared on the screen, his expression one of barely controlled rage. Admiral Hayes, your resistance is futile. Surrender now, and I will ensure your people are treated with mercy. Hayes stared at the Theon commander, his voice cold and resolute. We've heard that line before, Zack. The answer is the same. No surrender. This is our home, and we will defend it to the last. Zack's eyes narrowed. So be it. You will witness the full wrath of the Theon Empire. The transmission cut off, and the Theon ships redoubled their efforts, launching wave after wave of attacks. But humanity held firm. The Terran defense network, combined with the fleet's advanced weaponry and tactics, began to turn the tide. Admiral, the Theons are breaking off. They're retreating, Kaminsky exclaimed. Hayes watched as the Theon fleet, now a fraction of its original size, began to pull back. We've done it, he said softly. We've won. As the Theon remnants fled into the void, humanity celebrated a hard-earned victory. The losses had been great, but the spirit of Earth remained unbroken. In the weeks that followed, efforts shifted to rebuilding and fortifying their defenses, ensuring that no future threat would ever catch them off guard. In a grand ceremony held at the United Earth Command, Admiral Hayes addressed the assembled leaders and citizens of the planet. Today we stand victorious, not just because of our technology or our tactics, but because of our unyielding resolve. The Thrain thought they could conquer us, but they underestimated the strength of the human spirit. We have shown the galaxy that we will not bow, we will not break, and we will never surrender. The crowd erupted in applause, a thunderous roar of unity and triumph. The day the humans answered had become a symbol of hope and resilience, a testament to what could be achieved when humanity stood together. And as Hayes looked out over the cheering masses, he knew that this victory was just the beginning. The galaxy had learned to respect and fear. The strength of Earth and humanity's place among the stars was now assured.